Hello, hello, hello to anybody who's joining us. And obviously I have a lovely guest with me today. Hi, Anna.
Hello, nice to be
I
here.
will thank you. I'll just introduce myself and then I will introduce Anna properly. So welcome to Lunar Pumpkin for whoever's joining us. I'm Emily Kalcher. I love working with the moon. I am an astrologer, an intuitive tarot card reader, and I tend to aim to help people to grow their potential and manifest their dreams into reality using the divine timing of the lunar cycle. And I sell lots of different products on my website as well. And of course, if you want to book a reading, it is lunar-pumpkin.com. So that's me. Let me introduce Anna Grace. She is an intuitive counsellor, astrologer, and certified empowerment coach from Sydney, Australia. So yes, literally on the other side of the world from me. Anna uses astrology as an important tool to discover her true strengths, gifts and challenges. She's been a teacher and team mentor for over 10 years and truly wants to help young people to find their sense of purpose and self-confidence and feel fully equipped to navigate any challenges that they face in life. Anna offers a heart-centered holistic coaching service to support females who want to work through their own unique personal challenges or to help guide them to find their path in life. So welcome.
That's me. Thank you so much. Beautiful introduction. I do lots of different things, and even as you say that, yes. So yes, talking about like all the different things that I do, I find that over the years it has changed and developed, even since, sometimes the bio and the introduction changes quite a lot in the evolution journey. So my astrology is sun sign Virgo. That's why I call myself the Virgo alchemist. And the reason why I use the term alchemy is because I have a Scorpio rising. And so I'm all about like the deep dive, going all the way into the taboo things like tarot and astrology and, the things that maybe other people don't want to speak about. So I do still really resonate with like earth medicine and, working with my Virgo gifts. But the Scorpio is probably something that I've stepped more and more into as I've stepped into my path. And I have a Gemini moon. So that's why I like to do lots of different things. And always, the teacher for so very long, still want to teach. And the student, always learning, always studying something.
Yeah, so for anybody who's not as au fait with astrology, Scorpio rising is something which is really can be quite intense, can't it? Because it, as you say, it does the deep dive. It's the birth, death and rebirth. It's transformation, looking at a deep dive to the truth and not shying away from intimacy. And it's, quite an intense one to have.
Yes, it calls us forward, and I think there is a process of that death and rebirth over and over and over again, and that can be uncomfortable. But if you lean into it and really embrace the scorpionic traits, it's quite beautiful. Like I enjoy the process of death and rebirth at times.
Yeah, I guess the interchange between that and Virgo energy might have some challenges and things as well. But if we talk briefly about Virgo, it's being of service, it's being grounded, it's earthy, it can look at analysis and cleanliness and health and all those things. But for me, I see that as trying to place the sacred in everyday life and bring about ritual and really nourish yourself, because as you know, you can't pour from an empty cup. So the idea of looking after yourself and being of service there means that you can serve others from that place of authenticity and integrity and really show up beautifully.
Yeah, definitely. And I feel like I've learned even more lessons this year about that, because it's very big on service, but we can also be like self-sacrificing. Like, I'm going to do all of these things for all other people, but then what about my routines? What about my habits? And so Virgo does call us back to that. But it's interesting for me because my North Node is also in the 6th house. I'm more naturally in the South Node of 12th house, of being in the spiritual realms. And I'm here to do more with my Virgo habits and routines and well-being. And so I really benefit from having more consistency. So yeah, definitely drawing upon the Virgo traits, the positive ones. There's a lot of shadow. And we're all moving through the Virgo season. So we may be feeling called more to creating those habits or routines or looking after ourselves. And, even this weekend we did a big throw out and, declutter and cleaning. And, it's just so interesting how we can feel called to do that at this particular time of the year. In Australia, it's spring. So we're getting nicer weather. And we think, oh, great, we can just throw that out and let's have a spring clean. You can't really say that in England, but it's this sense of starting again a little bit. Yeah, focusing on self, but also how when we have order and a sense of, I suppose, control within our environments, that helps our mind, because we actually are quite, busy in the mind with that Mercury ruled. And it can, we do need to meditate more than maybe other signs. I also have a lot of air in my chart, so the Gemini and Libra, a lot of Libra. And so, yes, I like to chat, but it's also like lots of different tabs open in the mind. So we want to be able to close some of them down.
Yeah. So as, of course, your business, as you say, is Virgo Alchemy, should we talk a little bit about alchemy for you? One, as you say, a little bit more about why you named it Virgo Alchemy, your business, and then your journey to where you are now and what you offer and that sort of thing.
Yeah, big question, because I actually started off with talking about evolution. It's like, oh, where did I start? It was actually Anna Grace Wellbeing, which is a very umbrella title. And I think when we're starting on the spiritual journey, it can be, very much about ourselves and how we can, I suppose it's a self-discovery journey. It's, what do I really want to offer? How can I tap into my intuitive gifts? Like all the things. So as I went from being a teacher to being like a teen mentor, and I just started doing workshops, which was involving astrology, meditation, yoga, just getting teenagers into a room and giving them those tools, because they'd helped me. I wanted to help the 12 and 13-year-olds that I really wish that I had help at that age. And I think sometimes that's where we are really in service, when we think, oh, what did I really need at that age? And I just wish I had these tools, working with the moon, astrology, all the things. And I was like, oh, I really want to give back to those particular people. And then as I evolved and stepped into different modalities and really continued to learn, I found that there's just so much more in terms of working with women and the alchemy process, because we cannot elevate and evolve without actually facing the shadow, which is that Scorpio. I want to go all in, go into emotional conversations and hold space for people. And I think that Virgo earthy groundedness creates a safety for people like my clients. And I just really got so much out of serving people on a one-to-one, deep dive experience of transformation. You know, like I'm all about like, let's go for it. Committed, you know, full transformation. Like, let's, I suppose, bare our souls and really do the soul work. And that's where is the alchemy, because we all go through major challenges. Some may feel more major for other people. You know, we all get you know, different experiences. With one person's suffering is not compared to another person's. It's all how we can witness, observe, understand, and learn. We alchemize it into gold, into our soul purpose. Like, what are we actually here to do? And that's where I just was like, hit the ground running. I really want to just help people to find that soul purpose and be sustainable and be abundant and really earn money and be in their heart-centered projects, right? So it's like, imagine if everyone, like, we had this big domino impact of lots and lots of people doing what it is that they're really called to do. I know it's not as simple as just like, you know, quitting your job and just throwing your arms up and like, yes, I'm going to do this. But that's why I really want to guide people back home to their core self, who they really are, without the conditioning, their emotional issues that have come over the years, right? The subconscious is so powerful, and it's often ruling our actions or our external. So it's just, I went deeper into past life healing, energy healing. Now I do quantum healing, and it's I'm also a trained counselor, but I just think it's just not enough to just talk about things, you know. I just want to go straight into the emotional box, straight into the chakras, what's really happening. So like people can talk and talk and talk around things, because that's how we sabotage, and we will you know, we will give the other person what they need to hear in order for us to stay in our safety, or perhaps in our ego, or so it's all about the deep dive now. And there's so much more to my journey, but I think that's all for now, to just explain that process of really I want to work with lots of different groups of people, but particularly with women, empowering them to utilize like their challenges to step into that gold brightness, be the star that they're meant to be, and in whatever way, the unique way that they're here to be in this incarnation. Past life is also a big part of, I suppose, diving into that, but it's not just about that. I think it's like a holistic approach to see what's impacting that particular person. We all have different, I suppose, unique ways to access our potential or our purpose, or our our future self, our pure state.
Wow, there is so much there. So much. Oh,
I can keep going, but I always think, oh, there's so many things that I want to do all the time, because I'm also a manifesting generator. And so the Gemini and the manifesting generator, it's just like, oh, I want to do this, I want to do that, I want to do that. There's only so much time in the day, but I get really excited about big picture ideas about, what can we do, and the potential for other people listening, all around the world, and what we can do to help lift people to feel that, that alignment with who they really are.
Yes. I know a lot of what you're doing is kind of bringing it down to earth, isn't it? It is the embodiment practices. As you say, if we're all up in the ego and we don't turn on our observer and take a moment, take a breath, which would be like your sort of Gemini moon style way of doing it. We need to take a breath, remember to breathe, and remember to learn and grow with that. But then actually it's quite interesting seeing the epitome of your chart. Before we were talking, you'd said about having Mercury in Leo, and then you were saying about allowing people to shine and to be the star of who they are meant to be, their potential. And then it's quite fascinating seeing all of that come out. I mean, how big is quantum? It's like a supermassive black hole. It's just everything, isn't it? It's kind of
exactly
every single possible healing modality that you could possibly have as a tool under your belt, and have the background of counselling, to know people are supported in that way that is professionally recognised, and aligned with that, should we say, the corporate and masculine side of the world, so that people from any walk of life could come and see you and know that they're in safe hands. Yet you have the sort of more feminine traits of flow and ease and all that, those quantum healing modalities to support people. And that's beautiful alchemy, really, putting the masculine and the feminine together. And in a way, you're talking about finding gold. And I was thinking, well, the sun represents gold and the moon represents silver, and it's just like, we put those together. It's like a yin and a yang, and it's really cool.
Yes, I think the Mercury, talking about the Leo placements, that they were very difficult for me to step into. And I didn't acknowledge I had any fire in my chart, like 4 years ago when I started in 2020. It was very difficult for me to step into speaking, expression, being empowered and confident. And, now I essentially will do like interviews or videos with ease, and, there is no nervousness behind it, which is just really fascinating, because it was such a difficult thing for me. And I would be red and patchy. I would just be a blithering mess on the inside. I think maybe if other people would say, oh, no, she can talk and she can do this, but it's about the internal, the feeling state. And I think sometimes having access to astrology, to your chart, and understanding the moon cycles of, when I started to really track the full moon, new moon, and my astrology chart, I was just like, wow, this is the blueprint or the roadmap that I have been looking for, of like, what is this really all about? And who am I really underneath that, without, the pressure of like teenage, growing up, going to university, and your parents kind of essentially guiding you, or you just come across, like, I just fell into being a teacher. I didn't, I didn't want to be a teacher, really. I just fell into it. I was overseas, and I just became like at an international school. So there's so many things that just can happen, but we're not conscious or aware of our intuition or making these decisions. So when we can look at our astrology chart and we see the gaps, I straight away was like looking at the Aries North Node, the Mercury Leo. There's other, I suppose they were the main ones, but really looking at the wounds of the Lilith and Gemini, of speaking, it was just like, I am not those. That is not who I am. And why is this the case? So there was a lot of other wounds, and a lot of past life healing that I initially did to step into the limelight more and feel more, I mean, I wouldn't say comfortable, but I just met myself at the edge, continued to push forward and forward, doing a little bit more outside of my comfort zone. And that's just, that's why I'm here today, just continuing to push forward. And what can I do that's a little bit more scary and keep going at it.
Yeah, that is quite powerful in the sense that actually, yes, we don't always know what we're doing initially in our lives, and that's okay. Acknowledging that where we are is where we're meant to be in any given moment, and that actually expansion and growth do come from realizing Oh, have I lost you? Oh, okay.
I'm here.
You're
Sorry,
here.
that was
Okay.
a little bit of a glitch.
Yeah, realizing that actually, although we are, is this my internet or yours? This is very strange.
I'm not sure. I can hear
What's
you
going on?
and I can see you.
Okay, cool. I'll carry on speaking anyway. Yeah, so basically knowing where we are and having a tool of astrology or tarot or human design or any of those spiritual tools can be extremely useful to then, as you say, look at the deeper healing. And actually from there, we can step more into alignment and be at more ease and flow and
Can you hear me?
right, is that better? Hello?
We're back. Yes.
I'm
Good on this
I'm not
end.
sure what you could.
Yeah. I'm
I'm not
here.
sure whether you heard all of that. Did you hear all of that while the image was gone or not?
No, not at the end. Sorry, no, I didn't hear the
Oh,
end. It completely stopped. Oh, so sorry.
sorry.
We're just talking about, I mean, mainly about the astrology chart and just how it's an avenue to go a little bit deeper into understanding ourselves. Yeah.
Yeah,
Did you want to
basically,
did you
yeah.
want to add anything?
Yeah,
Well, yeah,
basically, I said
it's
that.
definitely a the start of things. Oh, oh,
Yeah,
all okay now?
yeah. Yeah, basically, I was
That's
talking
better, I
about
think.
healing and
Yeah,
growth.
okay. We'll
Yeah,
go
I was just talking
again.
about how you can go through healing and growth from
Yeah.
knowing with those tools available to you. That's basically the basis of what I was saying.
Yeah. Yeah, I think sometimes astrology can be just like the starting point, and it definitely was for me. I love doing natal chart readings and um, helping people to access that information, but I feel like it's very mainstream now. A lot of people are a lot more aware of who they are, but it's just like it's sometimes just these little gaps. Like I was looking at my Neptune the other day, and I was just like, I don't, for some reason, I hadn't really gone into it in much detail. It's just something that I was like, yeah, I know it's in Capricorn, but I hadn't actually realized it was in the 12th house. Like something like that, that just, you sometimes read something, you see something, and you're like, I want to go a little bit deeper. Yeah, there's some call to understand things more and more. And particularly when you are actually being a practitioner or stepping into a new modality or understanding your soul path, I think sometimes it's really helpful, reassuring, reaffirming. And wow, yes, I do have the potential to be a healer or to be in spiritual service. To a lot of the people, that come to my space, that's what they're seeking. They're seeking some permission. How can I offer my gifts or my my strengths or my unique I suppose abilities to really help in some way?
Yeah, definitely. We have gone so deep. already. I was just thinking where to go from here.
The Scorpio. There's no time for the weather. Let's not talk about the weather.
Oh no. Would you like to talk a little bit about your podcast? Because, well, I've been listening to that for quite some time now. So does that help to sort of bring clients or different perspectives in that you can work with? Or what do you find that does for you?
Yeah, really, really helpful. And the thing is, like, talking about my Gemini moon, I love to have a chat. I've got my Lilith in Gemini in the 8th house. So 8th house, talking about taboo things is my challenge, in this lifetime. So of course I had to work through. Oh, you can hear me. I had to work through a lot of spiritual, I suppose, wounds of being in the spiritual, in my spiritual truth, that I'm here to talk about taboo things. And that was really part of my own healing. I really wanted to do the podcast for personal development and, yes, to connect with people. But I think at some point it became less about me and more, again, like similar to like starting the Instagram account and starting to offer astrology readings. It's a lot of the time it's like cathartic and it's healing and it's about your journey. And then it becomes, oh wow, I'm actually having an impact. And how can I have more of an impact? And how can everyone feel empowered by astrology and this moon cycles? And it's like, oh, wow, I can really do more with this. So it's the same with the podcast. I do focus a lot on interviews. And it's so interesting how when I was a young, had this idea, a little bit lagging. There we go.
Yeah.
I had this idea, which was like real world stories, that's what I called it. And of course, now everyone is doing, real world stories, which is just real people talking about their story. And it is fascinating to listen to. And it was just like this, it came to me so long ago. And when I was like, oh, I now have this opportunity, I have this community, I have a following, I can do a podcast. Why not? Why not me? And I just went about learning it. I'm still pretty novice. Like, I'm not that tech savvy, but I just find my way around and I do and it's all about imperfect action. So yes, I had a calling to speak. I wanted to share a little bit more about my journey, to be a little bit more vulnerable, because that was helping me to, I suppose, be a role model, or I suppose I don't really want to call myself influential, but it's like sometimes we have to go first. That in turn will empower the other people to go first. Right. So, well, if Anna can do it, I can do it too. And that's the only reason why I'm like, I'm just going to give it a go. And now I'm actually at like 62 episodes. And I realized it was like, I think the other day I put it up, it was like 2 years. And, that's just crazy when I think about it. But yeah, it's like really beautiful to give other women the space to share about their business or their dreams, their desires, and how they have alchemized through those challenges. So sometimes we talk about the steps to take in business. Sometimes it's just what was it like on your spiritual journey? How were you called to it? Was it lots of little things? Or was it one? I love hearing awakening stories. And it's, as the more that I did the podcast, the more I realized that my purpose is definitely here to guide women, particularly women, but I do work with men as well, is just to like really help them to find clarity on their path, whether it is to have host a women's circle or meditation class, or whether it's like actual coaching or spiritual business, doing tarot, doing any of the modalities, what are you drawn to? And it's like I've just helped myself to step more and more into the limelight, into those roles that I just want more people to feel happy and fulfilled in these amazing things that we, when we are working in our spiritual business, we are not really working.
Yeah.
That's that's the magic.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, it definitely feels like you're sort of stepping into your power, stepping into alignment, and actually being there, and you can feel like it's actually only about 5 minutes and you've been there for a couple of hours or so. Yeah.
Yeah, I know. And then like a normal job, you're just like, oh, I'm so drained, and I'm like, I've got no energy.
Exactly.
And yet, like, I'll be talking to you, and I'll be like, oh, I've got more energy than I did before. So it's like this kind of definitely. I'm definitely more extroverted, but it's like I get fueled, I get energy and energized from speaking about all of these topics.
Yeah, definitely.
Like, how amazing. So grateful.
Yeah, me too. So there are obviously lots of different things that we've kind of covered in parts. I was thinking about, are there any kind of rituals and um, ways of sort of nourishing yourself that you'd like to share with others, that just briefly, things that have helped you?
Yeah, I think it's one of the things that I have continually worked on. And with my Gemini moon, it's almost impossible for me to stick to something like every single day, the same
Yeah.
thing in the morning, the same thing in the evening. I'm not really that kind of person. I have really, really tried, and I've come to, I suppose, the acceptance that I really want to do self-care and have the practices like meditation, sometimes mantra, definitely grounding and nature is a big one for me, but I want to always continually change it. So it's like creating more of a playful way, an exciting way of having our self-care, our rituals, our I suppose, like I still want it to light us up and not feel
Yeah.
like obligatory or responsibility, or like I have to do this or I should do that. And I think at the beginning of my journey, I definitely was doing a lot of shoulds, and even like the impact. Oh, even oh, it's just loading. There we go. Even the sense of trying, like, I'm going to try better tomorrow, this type of language that we use, it can be quite self-defeating. So it's all about, for me, it's about empowerment and listening to your body. And I have been dealt with a lot more harsh lessons, I'm going to say, with my health this year, which I've shared a little bit on the podcast, that it's been the boundaries now for me are non-negotiable. And it's been such a blessing. But I think, as like a recovering people pleaser, Virgos, of being of service, always wanting to help, it can be so easy to say yes and harder to say no. And now I really listen to the sensations in my body, whether I have, I need to rest, or I need some quiet time. And it's like I just really go within a lot more, and I'm more comfortable to go within. So I think at the beginning, any kind of meditative practice that can help you to be present in your body and not be fearful of what is actually coming up is so integral and so important But I would encourage you to find your way. You don't have to do it how everyone else does it. I just meditate. I just close my eyes. I'm highly clairvoyant, and I just see what comes up, and I just breathe into my body. And it's sometimes so simple. You know, we can complicate things, and it's just about being in the now, being really present. And yeah, the gratitude practices and full moon, new moon, definitely. Of course, I really love manifestation practices, but just to be aware of the full moon, the new moon, with just aligning with the collective energies. And I'm so in tune now that I will place, you know, a special event on a full moon. I will just do these things like it doesn't I don't even know. I don't even always check. And sometimes the new moon and the full moon, they are the best times for self-care. And even I used to, when my boy was younger, I was just like, okay, if I can do something for myself on the new moon and something for myself on the full moon, I have really achieved a lot, as you know, with a young child. Whether it's just being in the bath and doing a mantra on my mala beads, or just prioritizing myself and saying yes, or saying a hard no, I can't do that, but I can do this, and not giving our energy away to other people that will perhaps not appreciate or not return. You know, these energetic exchanges are very important. If we are around people that are sucking our energy dry, or a lot of negativity, it's not possible for me to put myself in those scenarios anymore. And so it's a lifelong journey, definitely. But looking at your elemental balance is really helpful. So of course, like I've spoken a lot about my chart being quite air driven. Yes, I have Virgo. I do have a lot of Capricorn, but sometimes like the earth signs might feel, you know, drawn to earthing practices or being in nature. Like I personally love to swim in the ocean, but of course we can't do that all year round. I mean, we can in Australia, but a little bit chilly at times. And so I was thinking the other day, as soon as it gets a bit warmer, a swim a day and a walk a day, and just real basic things. Sometimes we don't allow ourselves to have that time, and then we wonder why we aren't committing to ourselves. It's just a journey, and just adding one more thing here and there as we get back to our pure self, or our core self, and who we really are. It's just loading. There we go. Apologies if this is my internet. I'm not sure if it's why it's a bit glitchy.
Oh, no worries. No, I don't think we missed anything there. So yeah, that's all good. Yeah, I'm fully with you on the elemental practices side of things. My first astrology training that I did with Deborah Silverman's School of Applied Astrology, and it's very much about using Saturn for life lessons, but then also looking at elemental balance. And yes, I do the whole with my Venus in Cancer, I have a shower and I do all my mantra work there. So, you know, things like chants to Kali, Durga, Ganesha, the chakra clearing chant, all of that in the shower. But then on a daily basis, it's before I do anything, it's do about, I think, 7 minutes of reclined yin yoga on my bed, and then that sets me up for the rest of the day. But yeah, I have a low fire within my chart, so although I have a lot of Gemini, so a lot of air, and that little bit of water that kind of brings me back into intuition and back into flow. The fire is only really my North Node and my Saturn in Sagittarius. So it's just, right, okay, how to get that fire to move and to have energy to do all the things rather than just be in my head.
Yeah.
And grounding down into the body is useful.
Yeah,
but having the
it
fire
is,
actually
'cause
makes me do it.
Yes, I know, and I think sometimes when you have a lot of fire in your chart, you actually, you know, you need to do high intensity sports or boxing or, running can get, too pent up, or, it can be aggressive at times, and, too much, too abrupt, or heated. So it's so interesting to look at the entire balance. It's not just about our top three. I know a lot of people are aware of this, but sometimes it's using the water. I do have quite a bit of water, but really I'm quite balanced overall. Because sometimes it's water, sometimes it's nature, sometimes it's meditation, and I think there's a lot of, it's almost pressure that you have to have like a morning routine. And I know a lot of my mentors have preached this over and over and over again. And I don't like to do that with my clients. Yes, accountability. Yes, if you feel cold to be out in the sun and, I don't know, just lie down on the grass. It's like sometimes it's just the really, everyday things that will help us. Like, even if it is like listening to music is a big one for me. It's like the emotional aspect of music. I think sometimes Virgos, I mean, this might be relevant because it's Virgo season, but Virgos can kind of like compartmentalize, put the emotion over here and think, I've got stuff to do. I've got to be productive. I can't just sit there and cry and have a minute. And so we push it away. So sometimes of the earth signs, it could be Taurus, Capricorn, Virgo, is that we put music on to actually have a cry, to like express ourselves and bring it out. And I definitely use that at the start of my journey to help me to be in my body, to feel it, rather than just like racing around, which is like more the air, air, fire, a lot of action, moving. But yes, yin yoga has been really important for me lately too, of feeling what's actually happening in the sensations of the body as well. Great time for anyone out there. Self-care, because of course, 6th house, health, well-being practices, habits, just bring it back to real basics and achieve, like, achievable, realistic.
Yeah, definitely. My 6th house is actually Scorpio. So for me, that has been a challenge to get back into health and self-care practices. Yeah.
How funny. Because you might dedicate one, like a particular self-care point, and you'll go deep into it. So instead of just doing like 5-10 minutes, you might be like all in. It's a very determined energy.
Yeah, that is a way of looking at it, definitely. So what are some things that you're really proud about within either professionally or personally in your life?
Just loading. Sorry, I missed that one.
So
What was
what are some things? No worries.
The question was the spiral of death is just loading.
I know. Yeah. Can you tell us about some things that you're proud of within your life, whether it's personally or professionally?
Yeah, good question. I feel very proud of where I am now in my personal life, because I went through divorce and quite challenging co-parenting relationship with my ex-husband. Was able to, I suppose, get out of that. Like it was a very disempowering relationship. And I was able to leave that and make a new life for me and my son, which is, I'm very grateful for some of those challenges, because big past life connections to, my ex was really there to help me to elevate and to step into my power. And so I am very helpful. It was very, I can look back on it now and understand path. And so now I have a new family with my new partner and a stepdaughter and a puppy, and we have this beautiful family unit. And so alongside my spiritual journey and my business building, I have been recreating my personal life. So um, I'm very proud of myself of stepping into that, because it's not self first in a lot of ways. Super scary. Also, recreating my career, going from teaching to be full-time in my spiritual business is a really huge thing. And I think this is the year that things have just been a lot more like, it's here. Sometimes you just like, you're so in it, you're in that you don't always have time to just reflect and be like, wow, like I got myself here. I did all the manifestation practices to find my partner. I wrote, copious notes. I want this kind of man. I want this. I want to be treated like a queen, which I am now. And it's just, the sense of harmony and peace within me and the internal level. That's what I'm most proud of, because we know, as part of like the spiritual journey, it can be really hard when we're used to chaos and we're used to, I suppose, codependency and disempowering kind of habits and behaviors, particularly from, fairly interesting, I'm going to say, childhood, a lot of change, me, stability and alignment and fulfillment, and not just doing something because you have to. I want to be doing it. I get to do everything in my day and have my own schedule, be there for my son. Like, I'm just so happy that I was able to create this life myself.
That's so beautiful, because actually it's knowing where you've come from, where you want to be, and actually having the appreciation for each moment along the path. And that, I say, the gratitude and appreciation part. But you talked earlier about non-negotiables, and actually our outer planets, which we briefly touched on, so like Neptune, talking of like transcendence, but also can be confusion. And then you've got things like Pluto, which does have the going down into the depth, kind of like Hades, the depth of hell, but also then has the birth, death, and rebirth from it. And then Uranus is like the great awakener. It's sudden insights, but it can be lightning strikes and changes that maybe you didn't feel you're ready for, but you have to change, because change is the only constant in life. And as we've touched on already, that now is the most important moment in your life. because that's the reality. The past is past. The future hasn't happened yet. And when we're able to be in mindfulness, in connection with others, or deeper connection with our higher self, we're appreciating what's real, and we're going to have more of those moments to be grateful for, and more moments to transform and grow and expand from. It is a beautiful alchemy, should we say? It is.
Yeah. My Pluto's in Scorpio in relationships. I'm pretty sure. So I don't know why I feel like I've got a block about that, but the Libra South Node, as well as the Venus and Libra, it's like there's a lot of concentration around relationship for me. And I think, I did really I have spent a lot of time too. So, as the feminine is rising, which we are all really feeling, I feel, in society, that we do need strong men to meet us and have these soul unions, and people that will really help us and support us. Yeah. And that's what I'm feeling and seeing a lot in the collective, that the women are, I suppose, just finding themselves with that self-discovery, and then going, well, I want more, and I want this, and this is how I want to live, and really working on themselves. And it's calling beautiful, conscious men to rise as well. It's exciting for the future. I'm really looking forward to 2025 of seeing how, the age of Aquarius is perhaps going to help more people to be more, and the star card.
I think it's been very confusing over the last few years, for a lot of men and women, and not just about men and women themselves, but also where there is the masculine and the feminine in all of us. And it's meeting those. Well, what are those qualities? How do we then utilize those beneficially for each of us? And it's not always about whether you have a strong man or a strong relationship personally. It can be, what are those relationships you're meeting in your work environment, in your family life, in general society? And it has been very confusing for a lot of people. But I think particularly as there's been talks on gender fluidity, and also talks on sacred sexuality, and so many things that have been more brought to the surface and more shown to society, that actually that those dynamics have been changing, and I think they will continue to grow and change. And I'm hoping that there'll be more acceptance. Like there has been times, and probably still are times throughout the world, where race, religion, and culture have been barriers. I think some of those boundaries are becoming more integrated, should we say, and less divisive in many ways. There will still be times highlighted in news or media where people try to hype up negativities surrounding all of these, but actually, as a whole, I think that we're bringing a lot of these topics onto the table and actually allowing people to discuss them more. And hopefully then people like yourself or me or anybody that we know within the spiritual or should we say counseling or supportive roles will be hopefully consulted more, as people wake up to, okay, not everything we're seeing in media is necessarily true, and discerning what is true for each individual. but both at a core level, but also a societal level. I don't know whether you get totally where I'm going with this, but it's a case of, well, actually, if we've got the freedom to be able to speak about these things, maybe when people have the wounds that are showing up, that they'll see that there's people out there that have been doing this for quite some time that can support them and have those true conversations. I kind of went off on a bit of a rant, but I don't know whether you get what I mean.
I do, because of things or separation. And, it really is dividing a lot of people. I think some of this, choose to disconnect from mainstream media intentionally, and it still comes into my space. Have you heard about this? What about that? What about that? Thank you, but I don't choose to engage in that way. I'm still really conscious of what is going on around the world, but it is just, it's so powerful, the manipulation of the masses, and languaging, and fear mindset. It can, and we've seen it at its worst with in terms of the 2020 and so on. So it's like to wake up. So it's only going to get stronger when people are understanding how it's keeping people essentially out of alignment. And they don't want people to be in authenticity and really, doing heart-centered stuff, because imagine what what the world could be like. There would, it might be an imbalance there, but I understand exactly what you mean. And I think it's all about discerning from our point of view, how the shadow or the wounds show up, whether we're projecting stuff onto other people, or people acting in ego and not wanting. Why it's all about like energetic protection and discernment of who you surround yourself with as well, and what media and what information we're drawing in. Definitely.
Yeah, I do think there is a lot going on at the moment, but in a way, I'm hoping that our clients and people that we influence, because actually, as you've probably discovered, yes, you have a lot of impact and influence over a fair few people, whether it's that they come to you as clients or whether it's through the podcast. I'm hoping that between us, we're showing a positive influence on the world in some respects, and that people realize there are lots of like-minded people out there, should they wish to contact them and work with them. And I do think there is a deeper conversation to be had in many ways, but at the same token, we're all human, and we're all perfectly imperfect, should we say. And if we can nourish and support those gifts and abilities in people that come to us, no
one can escape the human experience. And we've chosen to be here at this particular time, so it's remembering that. And it's all an experiment. It's all an experiment. So it's just like not taking things too seriously at times too, particularly with like leaning into your gifts. It's of course it's always going to be helpful, to practice and to little bit outside of your comfort zone, just stepping more and more into that, still in safety, but continuing to grow.
Is there anything else that you'd like to share or touch upon that we haven't discussed. I know we've gone kind of deep and we've looked around subjects rather than going directly at them.
I know. Yeah. Well, I suppose I would love to share a little bit about my current program that we're starting next Monday in Sydney time, 17th of September. And it's called the Priestess Initiation Program. So we are Aquarius, being our authentic self. And I have a lot of people that are feeling the call to do something. And it's like there's this old self over here. Doesn't resonate anymore. They've moved out of this old self and they're in the middle. They're in this like, what should I do this? Should I do that? What is my purpose? What am I here to do? But the call keeps coming, right?
Mm.
I have to do this. I want to do this. So listening to that and that future self or new self or authentic self and really understanding what that is as goddesses, women in empowerment and really speaking our truth and being in power and just really being in our sovereign back to hang on a minute. Coming back to our core, perhaps shadow or wounds, or understanding what are those blocks or sabotage that's stopping us from being in our absolute magic, our gifts, whatever it is that we're here to do. And so it's a 3-month program that is in preparation or readiness for 2025, which I feel is going to be really big with community and understanding our role to play in society. And there's a lot of exciting things coming next year. So this is the opportunity to work so that you can just take action without any of those, the energetic leaks or the emotional issues, or, we all have this self-sabotage at times running our system, our program. So this is an opportunity to be, step into the healer role of the priestess. So anyone is interested, just reach out to me on Instagram, Virgo_Alchemy. And I always have lots of fun things happening. Tarot Tuesday offerings, my podcast. You can always come and do an astrology reading with me. But where I'm at now is like I love doing tarot astrology, but it's just the energetic healing and the quantum healing that really just transforms people, and it's very much like a fast track of understanding who you really are. So I love it so much.
Beautiful. So of course, if anybody would like to connect with Anna Grace, feel free to do so, all those places that she mentioned. And I think I will wrap up around here, if that's okay with you. You're welcome to stay on for a bit behind the scenes if you should choose to.
Awesome.
Thank you so much for joining me. And thank you to anybody who watches in the future. And if anyone has any questions, feel free to leave them in the comments, and myself or Anna Grace will answer at some point. So thank you.
Thank you. Sorry, a little bit of glitching, but I really appreciate you having me here today.